and welcome to GM Talks, where we're gonna look at the Caro-Kann for black. The Caro-Kann is a solid, interesting opening that a lot of GMs use to play for a win. So it can be a nice weapon to add to your repertoire if you're sort of serious chess players. So let's get into it. I will use two games I played in the Titled Tuesday tournament a few weeks back. I'm black. This is the Caro-Kann. So what's the idea behind the Caro-Kann? Well, very simple. You play c6 in order to play d5. You play d5 no matter what. This is sort of the idea. And why you do that? Well, you get a hold of the center. In the opening, we are fighting for these squares. This is what it's all about. And black can do that in a multiple ways, the Sicilian, e5, and the French, and the Caro-Kann. The advantage with the Caro-Kann is it's a little bit asymmetric, meaning there are way less forced draws in the Caro-Kann than in any other of the e4 openings, and that's why a lot of GMs is attracted to this. Another feature is that this guy down here, well, let's make him orange, he is not being put back in the corner. It can be quite difficult to develop, especially in the French, but also in other openings. And in the Caro-Kann, one of the main targets is to get this guy out and do something. And this will always be possible, more or less. It's very seldom in the Caro-Kann that you end up with a bad white squared bishop, unlike the French or any other opening. Okay, let's get in. Today we're going to look at the so-called Tartakower variation. Here, black has many options. He has knight d7 as favored by Karpov, bishop f5. Firuzha still plays bishop f5. It's of course one of the main ideas behind the opening, getting the bishop out, playing e6, having a solid, good position. And then there is knight f6. And after take, if d takes, we'll probably call it the Larsen variation, but e takes is the Tartakower variation. And this has been frustrating white recently. And the reason is very simple, especially in blitz and rapid chess. You have one extra pawn here over here. Black will most of the time castle king side, and you will have one extra pawn defending the king, which is very nice in blitz and rapid chess. But there are other features. First of all, of course, white got something very nice for free. He got this guy extra on the queen side. So he will be able to create a pass pawn with c4 and d5. This is his main trump. On the other hand, black will get very free development. He has a e file and he has a d file to fight in, and all these pieces, this guy, and this guy, will find suitable squares. They will have no problem developing. So no development problem, almost no problem with the king, but white got this sort of, you would call it a little bit like a pension that you got saved up for old age, that the majority on the queen side may decide the day. Anyway, let's see this. The main line is definitely c3, bishop d6, bishop d3, castle, queen c2, hitting the h7 square. The renewed interest in this variation came when black realized that he could play after check. Here, black has earlier played g6, he has played king h8, he's played h6, but none of them were really comfortable, especially g6, h4 just looks really, really dangerous for black. Even though you have 4 pawns defending, white has a lot of pieces attacking, so it will not, maybe not. But then they realized, what about h5? And this looks really weird, right? This looks so strange. You play h5, moving, and it sort of violates all sort of principles, but it has a very smart. First of all, you might push it up here, and even though it's sort of gone ahead and could be weak and so on, it's also putting a really big clamp on white's king side, making it difficult for making a pawn storm, and also it helps black if he wants to attack the king on the queen side, the king side, when white castles queen side. If white can of course go bishop e3, black will go knight d7, castle, and here I recommend b5, and we are already fighting hard for the initiative. After something like this, you just go here and you go in with the knight d5, and you don't care about this. Nothing bad is going to happen over there. You're not afraid. You should not be when you play this kind of line, and this has turned out pretty well for black, actually. Actually, I think most Indians think that black is already better here. So this is interesting. Most of the time, white decides, okay, I'm just going to castle king side, and this is what Erkracht did in this game. Some German CM and h4, preventing knight e3, and maybe this will push further, which will be annoying. So he didn't care about that, and I'm just developing my pieces here. And bishop f4. Sometimes this is bad because you can do a little trick here, but at this moment it's not bad, because if I do this and he do that, and I do this, then he has this one, and this is really going to hurt. So that's a little trick to be wary of. So we have to accept that this one is a goner, but it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. I just go here, and I have a compact structure. It might roll forward at some point. The pawns can go maybe, and so on. This knight can find suitable squares. White's king is not that safe, and the white squares are also not that great. So, and this guy will have trouble finding something to attack. So I think overall black is fine here, and it's much easier to be black. d3, mistake, it says. Bishop d4, mistakes. I think it wants to go to e6 or knight. Maybe knight e6 is good here. I don't know. Anyway, this was a blitz game, and both the games in this video are blitz games, so not to taking too serious. Many mistakes. Knight f4 and queen d7. It does not like this move. It wants to play something completely different. I think h3 or something. I don't know. Still, I kind of like black's position here. The white squares are interesting, and this is unnatural moves, sort of bishop e2. I don't know really what to play. One of my ideas is, of course, just to get. I'm gonna try and go after this one with this guy, and this guy, and maybe the rook can somehow adjust, step in. So, and he tries to exchange, and this is typical for white, that he will try to exchange everything and say, okay, the pawn ending is winning because I got this guy. It's not gonna happen. Usually you will not exchange everything, and even the pawn ending is not always winning, so you shouldn't panic at all. Here I think knight d5 is good, just going for d5, and I played it here, so that was the right move. And already I would be a little bit worried with white here, that these squares here are weak, and it's much easier to be black here. You have a safe king, you have a safe structure, and you have attacking chances, and yeah, that's nice. f3, and this is already now you know that for a long time the king will not be safe for sure. Bishop f5, and apparently the engine thinks that's a great move. Probably it is. Bishop d3, and take, and knight g5. Nasty knight here. It could be coming here and destroying his pawn structure. And here, and of course it's a blitz game, so it's difficult to play, but it kind of gives you the sense of what black is trying to achieve here, and white is not. White is in trouble with these guys here for sure. And d6, and I'm basically just planning to go king d8. Notice he can't take here because of queen a3 check, and we are going after the king for sure, in a very bad way. He's got to get mated, I think, actually. So going back, and king d7, okay, and it just introduced rook h8 to the equation, and he took, and he tries to exchange, and this is what he's been doing, and now it's knight h3 is a problem. Might even play c5, queen f5, increasing the pressure, and so on. And he immediately blundered with rook h1, and bong. This is not because I've been doing this woodpecker method that I can see this kind of combination. This is I think I could see that anyway. And of course he can't take because the rook is hanging down here. And I'm threatening the queen, and he completely blunders because I can just take with the rook, and he resigned. He just lost a pawn and a knight, and of course white is completely finished. So that was an easy game, but it kind of shows how black is in the driver's seat on the king side. Okay, let's see something much wilder. Oops. Oh, I was not trying to do that. I was trying to get a new game. Sorry. Here. So. And here I'm playing against a guy from Libya. And we are having the same. And it's still, and I think it's known as bishop c4 is, I'm not sure that's a good move. Queen e2, that's the point behind that, because the check is a little bit difficult to meet. You could play queen e7 and go for the ending. It has turned out that the endings is actually okay for black. Even though white has a majority on the queen side, black has been doing okay in these positions. But we are playing blitz here, and I don't play this line to go for a slightly boring ending. So I'm just gonna go for this. And here black is already better if I go b5. I should just really run into him, but I couldn't really see through the tactics. I was afraid of something with d5, and it just makes no sense. So just b5 here, and black is already better. Basically, the thing is with this structure, the white squares often is a problem for white. So it's so black because he's this way. This bishop here can often be. So also go here and white should be worried about the structure. And at the same time, this is just not very difficult. This is just not easy to attack. You can how to punch a hole in that. Anyway, bishop d6, just getting back to the square here. Reading, if he plays d5, I can always go c5. But it makes no sense. Queen h5, mistake, I think. And okay, I was planning to go b5. This was the idea behind what I was doing. Okay, bishop b3, a5, and let's go, right? And c3, a4, yeah, and g6, and this is a mistake. And here, and it's sort of, yeah, it's a blitz game, so you play it out on autopilot. The good move here is definitely b4. And black is just, white does not have any. I thought he was going to go bishop a6, and I thought, okay, I can play rook e8 immediately. Also, so I can play the next move fast, so I don't have to think. Also, I would like to be sure I could get it back, but b4 immediately is good. And after something like this, black is already, and this, black is just clearly ahead in the race against the king. This guy will feel much less secure than this guy that is sitting like, it's a little bit like this, where you can put in the pieces and where you're trying to sort of build a wall of pawns around your king. It's a little bit it's a little bit like it's a Buckhouse or something. I don't know. Yeah. What it was called in Danish is called children's chess, børneskak. Well, okay, so I play rook e8, a5, c3, a4, bishop d2, g6, and rook e8. Still better. And b4. And I did play b4. And if he goes c4, I'm of course going to play b3. Just opening up his king, and he will be in a whirl of pain over here. This will not be fun. So he played knight e2, b4, c takes, and a3. And here I don't know why I played bishop e6. Knight a6 is definitely the right move, and when you look at it afterwards, it's just obvious that the knight should go to a6 and b4, and he's in deep trouble, and this also makes no sense, and this makes no sense because, but I don't know, I was thinking that I was already much better than I should just make sure my king was safe, and I would just win because his king is so bad. But of course knight a6 is still the right move. And I did get my pawn back, and queen a5, and we are trying to get into the hold here, still holding. I like this in the blitz when you have this very safe king. Bishop h6 makes no sense. It does, and the computer is not very impressed with the moves here, but that doesn't matter. This looks natural. This was a mistake. Apparently I should just take, I think. There is no mate, it's just always queen e5 or something, so I could just take on c5. That would have been better. And bishop d2 check, and knight takes e5, and here I realized, okay, there is no trouble here. This is covered, and there's a knight e4 coming. And this was a mistake. I should just take the pawn. And I'm always afraid that I will miss up something and he will get this one and I will be mated here, especially in blitz. Also because as my age passed the 40 and the 50, it was the slowness of my hands is really starting to show. Anyway, so I'm when it has to be really fast, I'm really slow, which is really sucks. Anyway, f4 is just lost. Knight e4 check, and well, he could resign here, but okay. And here, I think he resigned. It's made next move. So that was this kind of line. It's I think what White did was not correct. If you go into castle queen side, you have to play. You have to force the h pawn forward. At least then you have something to attack, because here Black's king was just so safe along the way. I think if you were going to play this line for White, you have to actually do a lot of work. You have to study it really hard and try to understand what's going on, because the positions are very different from what you usually get, because the structure is so different. It's so different, and therefore the normal attacking plans that you have in semi-open positions will just not work. Anyway, this was TM Talks. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot about the Caro-Kann, and please like and subscribe.